Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Today's going to be a fun day. Not. My back's playing up. First time in a long time, but it's pretty bad. I couldn't even get my socks on this morning. It comes and goes. It's an old injury. There's nothing I can do. Well, I can not do things that aggravate it, which I always try and maintain, but I can't even explain this. It's just got up this morning and it's bad. It's just one of those days. I'll live with it. But my real problem today is that guess which plants need watering today? It's all the cool growers. And guess which shelves they're on? The low ones. Typical. So there's going to be bending. They'll be talking about it as well, I expect. Anyway, although this was done as a little sort of spotlight, I didn't really get to look at it properly. This is Dendrobium wedding bells, sold as a nobly, but the way these spikes come out, there's very little nobly in that, quite honestly. It's a bit of a mix, but lovely blooms, lovely pale yellow with a deep red patterning in the lip, so I'm well pleased. And I'm well pleased this time I've remembered to get it on film, and I must take a still. So I haven't got that one in my records, even though it bloomed for me before. Now I've got some shuffling to do. Shelob Tolkien's looking good on its first spike. Guess where the other two spikes are? They're buried up the back there. They happen to have come out from the other side of the plant. They're going to start opening up in a bush, basically, so I'm going to have to do something. If I straighten this, if I stake those spikes, the blooms will come out at an odd angle. But they need somewhere to go, and the only place for them to go is straight up, quite honestly. This one's fine. I can keep that one growing upright because the buds haven't developed their aspect yet, but those two at the back have. That's the choices, though, really. The third spike on the Odontoglossum's open now. I think there's another one lurking somewhere, but that's 3 spikes open now. They're looking good. Cherry Baby's starting to drop its bloom, so that's on its way out. So bang goes the lovely chocolate fragrance till I can get another spike going. Yeah, but this Odontoglossum is looking good. I mean, it shouldn't really be up here because it's on a warmer shelf. But being at the front of this shelf, when the fans are on, it does get quite a blast of cooler air, so it'll survive the amount of time it's going to be up here. But I like to get the plants that are in bloom on show, Now this one lives on the floor, in the coolest place I've got. Obviously I'm not going to get to see the blooms down there. Oh, there's the 4th spike. I knew there was a 4th one somewhere. It's hiding behind this one. There we go. And the other one that's opening, I won't say opened yet, is the Dendrobium Friedrichsianum. That's got an awful lot of buds to come on that one. It's just literally started opening a few blooms overnight because they weren't open yesterday. So obviously in a day or two there'll be quite a few blooms open. We can have a closer look at that. Again, it's a nice yellow, quite a greeny colour in the throat of the lip on that one, and it does have patterning, more like veining, I suppose, on the petals and sepals. So we'll have a closer look at that when it opens better. That's about it. These are going to be open soon, but not yet. And these really look like they're going to be pink. That's going to be good. There's nothing much else that's open. There's stuff coming very soon now. The buds are starting to show on the Disa, or on one of the spikes anyway. They're starting to separate. But again, I haven't had Disas grow their own spikes. This was in bloom when I got it, so these are my first homegrown spikes, I suppose you could call them. Coming soon. And the other thing over here is my little Neophonetia blooms are starting to open, so those should be open in the next day or two. The lovely long spur on these is very evident now. Yeah, so that's coming soon. That's about it for today. It's going to be a slow day today because trying to get down and get all those plants up off those lower shelves and then put them back again is going to be, I was actually going to say it's going to be a pain, but yeah, literally it's going to be a pain. I'll just have to live with it. But that's how life goes. It kicks you in the butt sometimes, so be it. I love the expression, a little pain never hurt anybody. Well, actually it does. And it's more of an annoyance, but yeah, it does mean I've got to go very careful for a while until it eases off, which under some circumstances is just one day, and other times it might last a week. So I don't know how long I've got to put up with it, but time will tell. But we'll see how we go. And yeah, just a few new things. Oh! How can you miss that? The Brassica Chieftain Ludlows is, these aren't fully open yet, they are opening, but already you can get an impression of the centre of the plant is small. It's typical Brassica shape, you know, lovely pointed lip, slightly heart-shaped, good patterning, and its overall size is always measured from the tips, from down here to the centre and then on out here. And that's 10 inches. That's 10 inches across that bloom. Although I always think of it as the middle bit. That's the sort of bit you tend to look at. But those are just opening now. Those are highly fragrant when they get going. They're a sort of spicy sweet smell, different to anything else I've got. But most Brassicas have a similar spicy type aroma to them, so that will follow on once they get opened a bit. And now I've got to try and find somewhere to put that plant where I can actually see the blooms. That's going to be fun. I mean, that spike's 2.5 feet long. But anyway, at least that one's opening now. Been looking forward to it, coming soon, along with the fragrance that goes with it. So again, once I have a rearrange round here and get the stuff in bloom, you know, in its prominent positions, although where the hell I'm going to put this I really don't know. The problem is, as you can see, the plant's been allowed to hang over to keep the spike horizontal. If that was upright, the spike would touch the roof, so that's no good. So it has to hang, and it has to hang loose from the hook, so that the mount is sort of like that, and then that stays horizontal. And that's how the blooms are going to open. They're going to look at their best with the spike at that angle. So I'm going to have to try and find somewhere in here where I don't keep bashing that spike around, but can still see it. That's going to take a bit of thinking. Might have to move a few plants while this is in bloom, but yeah, looking good. And I'll see you next time. Sometimes things just have to change. I've got a sprayer. Today's is going to get used. Strictly speaking, I should be changing the water in the Vander bucket, getting the RO unit going and filling up all my containers. The number of times that means bending and lifting is a no-no. So the Vander bucket will have to wait. It's only hopefully another day. Well, that'll be a wait and see. But yeah, I do have, it's a bit of a wussy sprayer. It doesn't push out much water, but I can literally go round on those lower plants and get some water into the pots. Now, although that won't water them properly, it's better than nothing. And it'll tide them over, basically. And again, with the mounts, oh, you'll like this. Yesterday, the mounts got watered with a CalMag feed. And after I'd finished the mounts, I still had quite a bit of water left over. Well, some left over, and I thought, actually, I'll go around the holy clay pots as well while I'm at it. They're due a CalMag feed. So I basically topped my water bowl up, which probably doubled the volume of the water. Now, by rights, that should have halved the TDS level. When I checked it, it hadn't gone down. So obviously, while I was watering those mounts, I was washing out some undissolved salts from the moss in the mounts. Yeah? Been a bit slack on the old flushing lately. My obsession with feeding and watering well this time of year does need to slack off now and again. They got to remember, your plants can still need a flush now and again, and that will depend on the strength of the feed you use and how much of it the plants are using. Now obviously with my mounts, they dry on a daily basis, and they probably dry before they're capable of absorbing all the nutrients they get. So there's going to be some residue left in the moss and on the bark and on the roots and stuff. And although a good flush will wash a lot of that off. It probably won't get all of it, and it may take 2. But another little food for thought. If you've got some undissolved salts in some dry moss and you flush it, you've re-wetted it, and you may not wash out all of those salts. So whereas you think you're completely flushing them and all they're getting is water, you've re-dissolved those undissolved salts, and they're going to get some of that as well. So although you think it's a plain water feed, you might actually still be adding a small amount of nutrients as you flush. Just food for thought. But the best idea is to not get the build up in the first place. But when you feed low levels and feed virtually every time, you're going to get some. Not all plants can use up those nutrients at the same rate as you give them. So always remember, it's worth having a good flush through with clean water every now and again, and start afresh and start the build up again. But I think you're far more likely to get a build up if you feed at higher levels, quite honestly, because then they're just not going to use it all in the time it takes to dry. Certainly with mounted orchids. Might not be so bad in pots, but it'll depend on how fast the plants are growing at the time. So yeah, I think we'll have a sprayer day today and cut down on the old bending and lifting and I hate being restricted. I like to just get on with stuff as the need arises and not have to change stuff around. But yeah, I suppose I mean, my back is an injury, not not just getting old like some of the twinges. I basically was showing off on a trampoline in college days and compressed some discs, and I have to take care with it basically, and although I've been taking care and I don't appear to have done anything silly, it's just decided to play up today. So we'll accommodate, that's all I can do. But aggravating it is not going to do it any good at all, so we'll have an easy going day and get the old sprayer going for a change, and topping up my RO water. I've still got 2 5-litre containers that I haven't started. I've got plenty of water for a couple of days yet, so we'll wait until lifting that Vander bucket, and messing about like that is not so much of a problem. These things are sent to try us. Trouble is, we always get found guilty. See you next time.